It's 3 a.m. You're wide awake, not because you're broke, but because you have exactly $5,200 in your savings account and you're absolutely terrified. Your car has been making that weird noise for 2 weeks, your laptop is 5 years old, your tooth has a dull ache, and every single one of those things feels like a loaded gun pointed directly at that $5,200. Here's the thing nobody tells you about building an emergency fund. The moment you hit your first savings milestone, a new kind of financial anxiety unlocks that you didn't even know existed. Financial gurus told you, cut the lattes, skip the avocado toast, save that first $1,000. You did it. You kept going. You hit $5,000. You thought you'd feel secure. Instead, you feel more vulnerable than when you had nothing. Welcome to the Emergency Fund Paradox. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into the psychology of why having $5,000 in the bank can actually feel worse than having zero, and more importantly, what that magical threshold is where your brain finally exhales and your financial anxiety actually starts to fade. Think of emergency fund building like climbing a mountain in the fog. When you're at $0, you can't see anything. You're just putting one foot in front of the other. But when you hit $5,000, the fog clears, and suddenly you can see exactly how high the real summit is. You've climbed just high enough to realize how far you still have to go. That's the false summit. And here's where your brain betrays you. You're now operating in what psychologists call the anxiety plateau, that dangerous middle zone where you have just enough money to know what financial security looks like, but nowhere near enough to actually have it. Let me explain the neuroscience. This is called loss aversion, and it's one of the most powerful forces in behavioral economics. Research shows we feel the pain of losing money roughly twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining it. When you have $0, you literally have nothing to lose. Your brain isn't on high alert because there's no asset to protect. But at $5,000, your amygdala, your brain's fear center, is now in permanent guard mode. Every purchase, every unexpected expense, every weird car noise activates it. You're not just worried about going broke, you're worried about losing what you fought so hard to build. This is financial quicksand. You have enough to sink into anxiety, but not enough to stand on solid ground. And here's what makes it worse. Your brain doesn't worry about emergencies one at a time. When you have $5,000 saved, your brain doesn't calculate risk like this. I might need $800 for a car repair. No, your brain runs disaster mathematics. What if my car breaks down, and I need a root canal, and my laptop dies, and I lose my job, all in the same month? This isn't irrational. Emergency clusters are real. They happen because deferred maintenance snowballs. Stress causes health issues. Financial anxiety affects work performance. When you're operating on a thin buffer, you delay that $150 car tune-up because you're trying to protect your savings. 3 months later, that's a $3,000 transmission failure. This is the emergency fund paradox in action. The money that's supposed to protect you makes you so conservative that you end up spending more. Your $5,000 buffer isn't buying you security, it's buying you a front row seat to watch everything that could destroy it. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain. When your emergency fund feels insufficient, your amygdala stays activated. This creates chronic low-level anxiety, which doesn't just feel bad, it actually impairs your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making. You're literally making worse financial decisions because you're trying so hard to protect what little you have. But something remarkable happens around $20,000. This isn't a random number. Research in personal finance psychology suggests that $20,000 represents a mathematical and psychological tipping point, the point where most people's brains shift from a scarcity mindset to what psychologists call a secure base. At $20,000, you can cover 3 to 4 months of basic expenses for most households. You can handle multiple simultaneous emergencies without total depletion. Your brain stops doing disaster mathematics and starts doing opportunity calculations. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Scenario: your laptop dies. With $5,000 saved, immediate panic. You buy the cheapest replacement possible. $400 Chromebook. It's slow, limits your work capabilities, it breaks again in 18 months. You've now spent $400 twice, equals $800 on inferior tools. With $20,000 saved, mild inconvenience. You research quality options, you invest $1,200 in a reliable machine. It lasts 5+ years. Total cost over time, $1,200. $20,000 doesn't just buy protection, it buys decision-making quality. Okay, so we know the problem, but how do we fix it when you're stuck at $5,000 and $20,000 feels like climbing Everest? Here's the truth. You cannot willpower your way out of financial quicksand. You need architecture. Hack number 1. Automate like your brain doesn't exist. Stop trying to save. Set up automated transfers the day after payday, money that disappears before your brain registers it as spendable. Even $200 every 2 weeks is $5,200 a year. In 2 years, you're at $15,400 without making a single active decision. Hack number 2. Build the buffer before crushing debt. Hear me out. I know this is controversial. Dave Ramsey is screaming right now, but here's the psychological reality. A person without a financial buffer is like a human trying to lose weight while starving. Eventually, you will make a panic decision. If you have $8,000 in credit card debt, but $0 in savings, the next emergency goes right back on the card with interest. You're running on a hamster wheel. Build a $2,000 to $3,000 mini buffer first, then attack debt with focused intensity. Your brain needs to know you won't drown before it can commit to the marathon. Hack number 3. Spend to build strategically. Use your current fund for preventative maintenance, not just emergencies. The $150 car service that prevents $3,000 failures. The $80 dentist visit that prevents $2,000 root canals. The $60 ergonomic mouse that prevents $1,500 in physical therapy. This is the psychological shift. Stop treating your emergency fund like a museum piece behind glass. It's a cognitive performance enhancer. Use it to prevent the emergency clusters that keep you stuck. Look, if you're watching this and you have $5,000 saved, you need to hear this. You are not failing. For the 40% of Americans who can't cover a $400 emergency, what you've accomplished is monumental. The fact that it doesn't feel that way isn't a character flaw, it's neuroscience. The first $20,000 you save is doing psychological work that money will never have to do again. It's not just covering emergencies, it's buying you out of a scarcity mindset, purchasing decision-making clarity, building what I call compound confidence, the psychological interest that starts accumulating when your brain finally believes you're going to be okay. After $20,000, saving gets easier, not because the math changes, but because your brain does. You're no longer climbing out of quicksand, you're building on solid ground. So if you're at $5,000 right now and you feel anxious, exhausted, and like you're doing everything wrong, you're not. You're at the hardest part of the journey, the part where the fog clears and you see the real mountain. Keep climbing, automate your systems, protect your buffer, spend strategically to prevent disasters, not just react to them. And remember, the knot in your stomach at 3 a.m. isn't a warning that you're failing, it's proof you've climbed high enough to care about the fall. That caring is what's going to carry you to the summit. If this video helped you understand why your $5,000 feels like financial quicksand, hit that like button so YouTube shows this to someone else lying awake at 3 a.m., wondering if they're doing it all wrong. Drop a comment telling me, what's your current emergency fund balance and what emotion that number make you feel? No judgment, just community. And if you want more psychology-driven personal finance content that actually acknowledges how hard this is, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your financial anxiety isn't a character flaw. It's a signal you're ready for the next level. Let's get there together.